For legal reasons, I have to keep this video as straight-laced as I possibly can. My name is Jordan Shanks, and I'm being sued by John Barilaro, the Deputy Premier of New South Wales. Up until recently, I've treated this legal problem with the levity it deserves, but in all honesty, every move I've made, no matter how ridiculous it appeared, has been both legal and considered. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the Deputy Premier, who has impulsively, maliciously escalated the situation at every turn, and in doing so, out-clowned the clown. I understood that the usual procedure for silencing dissent in a Western democracy is to outspend your opponent, legally or electorally. What I did not realise is that defence is quite literally paper thin. Australia does have its own secret police, and they get sent in very quickly, particularly when the skin is as thin as said paper. On the 4th of June, plainclothed armed officers stormed into my employee's home, violently assaulted his family, nearly killed his dog, pinned him to the ground, handcuffed him, and dragged him into an unmarked police car. If you're wondering if I've accidentally mixed up a story from Pinochet's Chile with a standard arrest in Australia, I did not. That's what his father thought, who stated at the moment of this incident, understandably panicked.
You can't do this in Australia.
Sorry?
You can't just take someone in Australia out of their house.
He's right. You absolutely cannot. And yet they did. With unsettling arrogance, seeing as several cameras were filming what they could of the event. Imagine what they'd do if they weren't. Here's the footage.
No, I'm allowed to film it though.
No, you're not.
No, I'm allowed to film it.
No, you're not, because you're under arrest.
Could you
I'm
film
allowed
this?
to film
Could
it.
you film this, Mum?
You can film it, that's
Yeah.
okay, but you're not allowed to, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to. No, Mum, you can take my...
No,
No, you can take my phone. No, take my phone. Take my phone. Don't do
What the fuck?
Yeah, they're giving away evidence and trying to run away with it. Yeah? Don't run off with evidence. Okay? Who are you doing this? You're gonna win. Jesus Christ.
Film this.
I am.
Make
What
sure
the
you don't
fuck?
mind, like, film it. This is bizarre.
This is not Australia.
Yeah, it's Mark Davis.
Have you got the number? You hurt a 51-year-old woman. You knocked
I
me
tripped over.
You killed my dog.
I tripped
who's
over.
old.
Okay?
No, you did not.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
pushed your way. You pushed
No,
me
no,
down.
I tripped over.
You
That's
assaulted
whatever it
me.
was.
You assaulted
Okay.
me. You
No, I
just
didn't.
you just assaulted me, and I've got
did.
witnesses.
We told you
I've
to
got-
hand over the phone.
I have got witnesses.
You handed it to her. I tripped over you.
You
That's
pushed
what
me
happened.
down in my own home.
No, I didn't.
You
I
absolutely
COVID
did.
environment.
That's all.
If you do anything to my son, you will pay.
You can't do this in Australia.
Sorry?
You can't just take someone in Australia out of their house.
Make sure you don't lose it. That's all. I just want to make sure it's filmed.
I am.
On record. So,
I just got assaulted.
yeah, I know. Send
So,
a messenger. I think
Who do I ring for that?
Because I go to the con, I walk past John Barilaro in a day, Mum. Because I go to the... When I was seeing Carl Vine.
You know what your son did today?
You want to know?
No, I want to
You don't want to know?
legal representation. Watch it. He went to university. He went into
You might be wondering who this brave defender of corruption at the highest level is. He's from the Counter-Terrorism and Special Tactics Command Fixated Persons Unit, but let's just focus on this point. Christo was arrested by a counter-terrorism unit. This is not an attack on the police. These shadowy figures are not the police. They are the product of the powers the coalition have handed this legalised goon squad to be their state-funded Praetorian Guard under the guise of protecting you from amorphous and ill-defined boogeymen. To give you an idea of how far-reaching and sinister this legislation is, the following accusation now warrants the unbridled force of this self-appointed extra-legal mafia.
You know what your son did today? You want to know?
No, I want to
You don't want to know?
legal representation. Watch it. He went to university. He went into
I go to
school.
the con.
Yeah.
He goes to school right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was harassing the Deputy Premier at a state funeral.
We'll be getting into that slip-up later, but as you'll soon discover, it appears as if the unit was acting on false information. But for now, let's continue right from when he was arrested. According to Christo, the normal uniformed police were reasonable and professional. He felt bad that they had to process the claim on a Friday night when they obviously had much more important matters to deal with than a tantrum. There was one officer who he did not place in that category. Unsurprisingly, it was the man who, after illegally bowling over Christo's arthritic mother, proceeded to repeatedly chastise Christo about cyberbullying. Sticks and stones, eh? Christo attempted to explain how our work is not cyberbullying, it's journalism. The cop, appearing unable to grasp the point, eventually piped down, possibly to reflect on how even he knew he had just broken the law on camera. Eventually, they've detained Christo for the absolute legal max amount of time they can without really sticking their necks out, and they released him on bail. He's been charged with 2 counts of stalk and intimidate, intending to cause fear or physical or mental harm. Let me explain exactly what Christo did to warrant this arrest. It starts the day before with people John Barilaro himself had paid contacting Christo. They called him multiple times demanding to know where I was. This was only after they stalked me at my own property without knocking. Remember this. This is important because this is people acting on the will of John Barilaro contacting me and my employee. Here is another phone call as proof.
Yeah, hi, my name's... Is that Christo?
Yeah. I just record all my phone calls just as a security measure. So yeah, what's up?
Sure. Look, I've got a document for Jordan. I think somebody rang you about it.
Yeah, he did. He just didn't give me his number. I think I just got a missed private number, and I was checking voicemails, but I didn't get one.
We eventually met up with the process servers as detailed here, but keep in mind, this was only thanks to people John Barilaro paid contacting my employee Christo. When we got the lawsuit document, we realised it had a blatant mistruth in it. It stated the applicant John Barilaro's address incorrectly. The lawsuit could not continue unless this problem was rectified. The next day, Christo was in the city for a uni class he has regularly on most Fridays. To get there, he walks through the domain. He also had the lawsuit with him as he was photographing it to give to our potential lawyers. On the way back from his uni class, he noticed John Barilaro getting into a car. Now, as an employee of mine, he realised this was an auspicious opportunity to hand John back the error-laden document, giving John an opportunity to fix his mistake. He attempted to hand the document back, nothing more, nothing less. John ignored him, got in his car, and was driven off. An extremely innocuous interaction. Here's the full video.
Hey, John. Hey, John. I've got something for you. John, I've got a lawsuit. You're suing my boss. John.
That's one count. Doing his job. In case you're wondering what the second count is, it's when he accompanied me to visit John at the end of Bruz Eternal. He's now at risk of going to jail for 3 years because of that. And here are the bail conditions. He must not approach Bruz or contact him in any way unless contacting him through a lawyer. He cannot go within 200 metres of any place John Barilaro lives or any place where he works. He can't possess or share images or caricatures of the protected persons. On a side note, isn't this joke from an older video incredible with this new context that John Barilaro now actually is a protected persons?
If I could pass a bill protecting myself as a cultural icon, I would. Gladys, can I be a protected species? Oh, for the last time, Jean, no. Oh, but Mies, you look so pretty today.
He can't comment on the personal appearance or behaviour of the protected persons, and he can't participate in the publishing of content further harassing the victim. If Christo does any of that, jests about him, even dares speak his name, he goes to jail like it's the Dark Ages. So suffice to say, he has nothing to do with publishing the content of today. Christo's lawyer says these are the weirdest bail conditions he's ever seen in his entire career practicing law. And now here's the most insane part of this story. The arrest was done with absolutely no evidence. You know how I know that? Because the police haven't seen the footage I just showed you. When Christo was released, he was given a police statement of facts. Here it is. Unfortunately, though, it's not really a statement of facts because it appears that someone has lied in their statement to the police. On Friday, the 4th of June 2021, the victim was attending a funeral at St Mary's Cathedral on College Street, Sydney. About 12:30pm, the funeral had ended and the victim was returning to his vehicle parked nearby on Hospital Road. The accused was seen to follow the victim for about 200 metres before approaching the victim as he approached the waiting car. Here's the video, and it starts about exactly where Christo noticed John Barilaro. Does that look like he was following him for 200 metres? He couldn't have been, because that was the first Christo saw of John, seconds before the phone was recording. Furthermore, Christo was walking back to his own car in the opposite direction that John's vehicle was heading. How the hell could he follow John? So let's get a lie counter up. Was seen to be followed for 200 metres. That's lie 1. Also, we're going to subpoena the CCTV footage from the area. The accused was filming using his mobile phone saying, "Deputy Premier, why are you suing my boss? And you're corrupt." Okay, let's play the video.
Hey, John. Hey, John. I've got something for you. John, I've got a lawsuit. You're suing my boss. John.
Pretty apparent Christo never specifically said, "Deputy Premier, why are you suing my boss?" And he didn't ever utter the phrase, "You're corrupt." 2 more lies on the counter, 3 all up. Let's keep going. The victim got into his car and the accused rounded the car, still filming, attempting to speak to the victim through the window of the car. Lie 4. In a police statement, Christo clearly didn't round the car, lied about being seen, lied about what Christo said, lied about rounding the car. Lying in a police statement is a crime. Lying in a police statement to get a journalist arrested and his family beaten is worse. Someone's done it. Who do you think it was? Questions. I guess we'll have to wait to find out in court. A date's been set, but let me just say this. For John Barilaro's career, I certainly hope it was his driver. Can't wait to find out, though. You know who else can't wait to find out? Our lawyer. I guess now's a good time to announce who he is. Mark Davis from Xenophon Davis, Gold Walkley winning X4 Corners journalist and the lawyer for Afghan whistleblower hero David McBride. John's thrown the full force of a civil suit against me, and now he's, in my opinion, flaunting 100 years of Australian democratic norms to bring criminal charges against my employee. And Mark is going to represent both Christo and myself, and also take on the cops who assaulted his family. There's a link to donate to our legal fund in the description. Donate if you can, because this has gone from a legal spectacle that exposes the limits of free speech to exposing the confines of your civil liberties, which are a lot smaller than you thought. I will be putting the money from my Clive Palmer legal fund to this. Any money donated will be greatly appreciated, because think about this from our perspective. We can't go to the cops for help. We can't go to Parliament for help. All we have are the courts. And just to end this video, I have some questions. Who directed this arrest? Did David Elliott, the police minister, know about this? How do you expect me to continue engaging in your defamation lawsuit, John, when my employees who I pay to work on it get arrested for merely doing their jobs? Who in their right mind can let John continue to be Deputy Premier after this? It's time to turn the tables. Which of the Liberal and National MPs are going to distance themselves from John Barilaro? He needs to resign. This needs to be referred to ICAC. This is the end of the line for John, because if it's not, New South Wales goes from state to police state.